Welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask that you please stand. On behalf of the faculty and staff of the Fuqua School of Business, it is my privilege to present to you the Fuqua School of Business Weekend Executive MBA Class of 2025, Global Executive MBA Class of 2025, the Master of Science in Quantitative Management Health Analytics Class of 2025, the Master of Science in Quantitative Management Business Analytics Class of 2025, and the Master of Science in Quantitative Management Accelerated Business Analytics Class of 2024. Good morning. Please be seated. Thank you. My name is Mary Frances Luce, and I have the absolute privilege of being the Interim Dean of the Fuqua School of Business. On behalf of everyone at the Fuqua School, I want to welcome all of you to the celebration that is the graduation ceremony of the Weekend Executive MBA class of 2025, the Global Executive MBA class of 2025, the Master of Science in Quantitative Management Health Analytics class of 2025, the Master of Science in Quantitative Management Business Analytics class of 2025, and the Master of Science in Quantitative Management Accelerated Business Analytics class of 2024. This ceremony marks an important transition point for all of us, graduates, partners, families, sponsors, faculty, and administration. Throughout these programs, you engaged with us in a partnership, the results of which we are here to celebrate today. For all involved, the partnership has had moments of challenge, moments of triumph, moments of exhaustion, and ultimately a lifetime of reward. It is a partnership that in a real way changes who we are. Graduates, we thank you for your hard work in helping make these programs a success. There are many people who want to wish you well as you continue your journey, not as students, but as valued alumni of the Fuqua School. On stage with me are several individuals that I would like to recognize. To my right is first Jeremy Petrenka, Senior Associate Dean for Executive MBA and Quantitative Management Programs of the Fuqua School of Business for all of the graduating students today. And next to him, we have Robert Swinney, our Senior Associate Dean for Executive MBA and Quantitative Management Programs of the Fuqua School of Business for all of our ongoing and incoming students. So Robert's over there. In addition, we are honored today to have so many members of our faculty and staff who have taught and worked closely with these graduating classes. Before we move along with the program, I want to recognize 4 groups of people whose assistance have helped to make this moment possible. These students have not been alone in their journey. Many of you in the audience today have been instrumental in helping the students achieve their success and their degree. First, we want to express deep appreciation to the student supporters, their friends, their families, their coworkers, their wives, husbands, sons, daughters, parents, supervisors, partners, and all other forms of supporters. We also acknowledge those who encouraged you at the beginning of your journey who were lost along the way. I am sure that everyone here and everyone, so many people all over the globe are wishing you well and so proud of you today, of all that you have, so proud of all you've accomplished. To the supporters who are here today, in particular, thank you for being an integral part of this educational adventure. You demonstrated patience and tolerance of this seemingly endless, sometimes, workload. Sorry about that. You provided the necessary support and encouragement. You picked up more than your share, and you deferred gratification in a host of ways for the sake of your loved one. I know that the graduates gathered here today take as much pride in the personal sacrifices you have all made for them as they do in their own educational accomplishments. Graduates, please join me in saying thank you to your supporters with a round of applause. Thank you all, and it's wonderful to have so many of you with us. The second group deserving of thanks today is the faculty of the Weekend Executive, Global Executive, and Master of Science in Quantitative Management programs. The faculty is largely responsible for the strong curriculum which shaped the substance of all of these programs. And it is the quality of their teaching and research that contributes substantially to the reputation of the school and to the value of your Duke degree. As students, you have worked in partnership with the faculty to create a world-class educational experience. Please join me in recognizing your faculty members, so many of them who are with me on the podium today, for their tremendous efforts in making this program a success. The third group we would like to recognize are the staff members that have worked closely with you during your time in the program. Again, many of them here today. From the first contact you had with the admissions office to the most recent note you may have received from the Executive MBA or MSQM program teams, there have been many people along the way who have worked tirelessly to guide you through your time at Fuqua to make sure that you could be here today to celebrate your achievements. They were the ones who made sure all of the details were attended to so you could focus on studying, or helped you realize your potential through the career development sessions in which you may have participated. They have gotten to know you on a personal level and are so proud of all that you have achieved. Please join me in recognizing the staff for their outstanding efforts in making this program a success. Finally, we recognize the student representatives. These students were elected by their classmates to coordinate class activities, represent the class to faculty and staff, support admissions with their recruiting efforts, and provide class leadership. They helped organize events and provided input into curriculum and judicial matters for your class and for future classes. That's so important. They were dedicated to improving the educational experience for their entire class. Weekend executive, global executive, and MSQM class representatives, please rise so we can thank you for all of your hard work. Thank you. I would now like to introduce Senior Associate Dean for Executive MBA and Quantitative Management Programs, Jeremy Petranka, who will facilitate the next portion of our ceremony.
Please allow me a moment to ruin the microphone height for everybody else. So the Weekend Executive, Global Executive, and MSQM classes have spent many hours under the tutelage of the Fuqua faculty. So to begin our celebration, it gives me great pleasure to recognize our Excellence in Teaching Award winners on behalf of each of our programs. So these awards really do represent the best of us. They're based on teaching, approachability, continuous improvement, degree of challenge, you're welcome, and use of innovation in the classroom. So first up, on behalf of the Weekend Executive MBA Class of 2025, I'd like to recognize the Excellence in Teaching Award winners, Mohan Venkatachalam for his core course and David Ridley for his elective course. I guess I have to stop the applause. That's enough. Okay, so on behalf of our Global Executive MBA Class of 2025, I would like to recognize your Excellence in Teaching Award winners, Ashish Arora for his core class, and Nina King and Kevin White for their elective, who can't be here, so Ashish gets double the applause today. And lastly, on behalf of the MSQM classes graduating this morning, I would like to recognize the Excellence in Teaching Award winners, Soon Peng for our MSQM ABA program, David Brown for our MSQM BA program, and Mike Aguilar for our MSQM HA program. On behalf of everyone in the administration, thank you all to the award winners and to all of our faculty for everything they've done during your time here. Now, I am extremely excited to be able to introduce the class speakers for our programs. So first up is our class speaker for the Weekend Executive MBA Class of 2025. Don't clap yet. I have to introduce her. So a while ago, I came to the realization that while I could just read you all off the incredible resumes of our class speakers, which are available in your programs, to get to know them better, it's actually more important to understand why their classmates picked them to represent the best of them. So we asked you. And for our WEMBA 2025 speaker, Heike de Silva, her classmates said that she has an innate ability to bring out the best in people. She meets people where they are without judgment and speaks to the good in them. She embodies the very best of Fuqua. She's thoughtful, driven, ethical, strong, graceful as a mother, and truly inspiring. Ladies and gentlemen, our WEMBA 2025 class speaker, Heike de Silva. Oh, sorry.
Well, thank you. I actually like the height. It's good. Fellow graduates, esteemed faculty, proud family, and friends. Let's start with a simple thank you. In a few minutes, you'll hear each graduate's name, but what you won't hear is how families, friends, professors, and colleagues made this journey possible. You won't hear about the spouses and partners who picked up the slack at home, the kids who cheered us on, they're still cheering, without fully understanding why we were so busy, the dogs who didn't exercise enough, or the friends who were ghosted during exams. You won't hear about the professors who took extra calls, answered late-night emails, or the colleagues who covered for us at work and encouraged us. So before we celebrate this milestone, let's recognize and thank the people who stood beside us, lifted us up, and made today possible. This achievement belongs to them just as much as it belongs to us. Two years ago, we sat together in an auditorium, dressed in our best suits, trying to look like we belonged. Beneath the surface, we felt excitement, ambition, maybe a little imposter syndrome. Many of us assumed this journey was about confidence through competence, climbing the career ladder, securing a bigger paycheck, and proving we belonged. And then, as Mark Brown might say, something happened. That first week, after ropes courses, case studies, and late-night study sessions, we realized growth wasn't just about mastering frameworks and financial models. It would come from leaning into discomfort. Leadership, we learned, isn't about having all the answers. It is about the courage to ask better questions, embrace uncertainty, admit what we don't know, and learn from one another. This journey demanded humility and a willingness to be vulnerable. Psychiatrist Thomas Josh once said, "Every act of conscious learning requires the willingness to suffer an injury to one's self-esteem." We have all, at times, struggled with the discomfort of rethinking long-held assumptions, speaking up when uncertain, and failing in front of our peers. But in that discomfort, we found growth, resilience, and a community that lifted us up instead of judging us. And that's the transformation we take with us today. Not just knowledge, but a new way of leading. One that doesn't rely on knowing it all, but on the confidence to keep on learning. So, what's next for us? That answer may look different for each one of us, but I believe we all must continue to grapple with a series of questions. What mindset will guide our decisions? Will we choose what's right over what's easy? Will we prioritize people, not just the bottom line? And years from now, when we look in the mirror, will we be proud of our choices? The good news is, we don't have to answer these questions alone. On our first day of residency, we sat next to strangers. Now look around you. You see the community that challenged you, supported you, and shaped the way you think. These are the people who suffered with you through decision models, lost their voices right here in this stadium, ordered DoorDash to the hotel lobby at 2 a.m., and they're still waiting for Mark Brown's feedback on their first-term team charters. Our time at Fuqua proved transformation doesn't happen in isolation, but through the people who push us to be better. As we move forward, we take this community with us, not just in our LinkedIn connections, not just in our shared immunity to the Fuqua flu, thank you, Kent, but in how we lead, collaborate, and show up for one another in the years to come. This bond, this shared experience, will endure long after we leave. There's so much magic in today, a sense of limitless possibility. We're all filled with optimism, ready to apply what we've learned. And as we embark on this new chapter, I urge you to remember a few key lessons. Act together. Collaboration isn't just a concept. It's the driving force behind meaningful progress. Be vulnerable. Lean into discomfort. That's where the real transformation happens. Be curious. Leadership isn't about having all the answers. It's about asking the right questions, creating space for others to contribute, and leading with humility and integrity. Decency matters. Our decency quotient is just as important as our IQ and EQ. The best leaders aren't just smart. They're kind, ethical, and principled. You can judge someone's character by how they treat those who can do nothing for them. Leadership isn't about power or position. It's about empathy and integrity. We leave Fuqua not just with knowledge, but with a responsibility to use it well. Our impact will be defined not just by what we achieve, but by the values we uphold and the communities we continue to build. So take a moment right now to reflect on what truly matters in your life. Have the courage to pursue that vision. Strive to create an inspiring legacy. Years from now, when you look at your community, your family, and your life's journey, may you say with certainty, the work I did mattered. Congratulations, Wemba Class of 2025. Let's go forth and make a difference.
Thank you so incredibly much. Now, I have the pleasure of introducing the class speaker of the Global Executive MBA Class of 2025, Megan Blotnick. Now, when we asked your classmates why they felt you best represented them, they spoke to a deep sense of character. They said that you're ambitious, incredibly intelligent, and you lead with just an innate sense of thoughtfulness. They also said, and we've been lucky enough to experience this, that your laugh is absolutely contagious and you brighten every room you walk into. Everyone, I am pleased to present the Gemba 2025 class speaker, Megan Blotnick.
Hi, Dad. You see, my father has no idea that I'm speaking here today. When I got into Duke, I told him over dinner that I had decided to go back to school, and in true business fashion, and a half glass full of optimism, he said, "Megan, I don't see the ROI." That's him right there. That's my dad, always the CFO of my life, calculating everything on the return on investment. He said it with a smile, but he wasn't completely joking. And honestly, I wasn't so sure either. Going back to school in the middle of an already busy life sounded a little crazy. But here we are today, Dad. I'm graduating from the Duke Global Executive MBA. And I think we can both agree the ROI looks pretty good. Hello, and welcome everyone, faculty, family, friends, and of course my fellow graduates. Thank you for giving me this incredible honor today of speaking. Over the last 21 months, we've crossed oceans, time zones, and comfort zones together. We've built something far bigger than a degree. We built a community. To my cohort, thank you for becoming a family. To our faculty and staff, thank you for challenging and believing in us. And to our families, your sacrifices, your patience, and your love made this possible. You are the foundation of everything we celebrate today. When I first started thinking about this speech, another classmate, Ethan, told me, "Shake the snow globe." Naturally, I Googled it, and I found nothing. So I texted two other classmates, John and Brandon. I was like, "Does this mean shake my butt on stage?" Brandon, being Brandon, goes, "No, Megan, it means shake things up." And that's exactly what Fuqua has taught us to do. Challenge assumptions, question the status quo, stretch beyond what we thought was possible. Ask yourself, when was the last time you shook your snow globe? When was the last time you let things be messy, unpredictable, and new? Think back to the first class at Fuqua. Were you nervous? Unsure? I was. If you told me then that I'd be standing here today, I would have laughed. I probably would have hid under my desk too. My classmates know that I'm much more comfortable in Excel than I am on stage. But that's what Fuqua does. It pushes you, one small, terrifying step at a time, until you suddenly are standing somewhere you would never think you could be. Sometimes growth looks glamorous, but usually it looks awkward, uncomfortable, and a little hilarious. Like doing Muay Thai at sunrise in Bangkok, throwing a kick, losing your balance, and laughing and hitting the mat. But honestly, that's exactly the point. Real growth doesn't happen when everything is polished and perfect. It happens when you're off balance, stretched thin, and still swinging. Residency by residency, case by case, something unexpected happened. My confidence grew. Not because I had all the answers, but because I realized it's okay to ask for help. It's okay if you don't have it all figured out. It's okay to lean on your team. And more importantly, we are better together. You might be brilliant on your own. Many of us are. But together, we built something far bigger than any of us could alone. It was the "I'm freaking out" text the night before finals. It was drinking beers together in a night market in Thailand. It was riding rickshaws through the streets of Delhi on a scavenger hunt, laughing way too hard to be competitive. It was trying tripe soup for the first time and pretending it wasn't that bad. It was. It was realizing no matter what city we're in, no matter what job title we have, someone from this class will always be there to pick the phone up. That's not just a network, that's a real community, one that doesn't sharpen your mind, it fills your life. When I think back to the first residency in Durham, we walked in as strangers. Now I look around and I see a family. What have we built here? It can't be measured in grades, or promotions, or LinkedIn updates. It's measured in the moments, in trust, in the kind of friendships that change who you are and stay with you long after the classes have ended. So Dad, about that ROI, it wasn't just the knowledge that we gained, it was every late night in Santiago pushing each other to think bigger. It was every morning in New Delhi, realizing we could stretch further than we ever imagined. And yes, even sitting around the dinner table with you listening patiently, cheering me on, even when the details didn't make sense, because you were just proud I was chasing something bigger. The real ROI, it's what we carry into the world, how we lead, how we solve problems, how we lift each other while we climb. Class of 2025, we did this together. And together is how we'll keep shaking the snow globe. One bold move, one act of courage, one unstoppable team at a time. I hope we all keep approaching life with that same spirit, shaking our snow globes, stirring things up, and never settling. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Megan. So now I am pleased to introduce the class speaker for the Master of Science in Quantitative Management programs, Jason Teeling. So one of Jason's teammates told us they developed a motto that became their mantra over the last 20 months. UWFT, us, we, Fuqua, team. And across the board, Jason's classmates said that he lives this mantra. He's kind, he's generous, and he never hesitates to help a classmate succeed because he truly believes that that's how the team succeeds. As one classmate said, one day, I hope to change the world as much as he has, and he will. Everyone, I'm extremely pleased to introduce our MSQM student speaker from the Health Analytics program, Jason Teeling.
Wow, thanks Dean Petrinka for that amazing comments, and to my classmates, and especially one specific junior colleague who I'm sure was at the root of a lot of that. You know, in this moment, I'd imagine that the great philosopher Ted Lasso would say something like, you don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great. And what a great place to start the next chapter of our lives, here at Duke, surrounded by the symbols of greatness, the Iron D, the world-class hospital, the soaring chapel, and this cathedral of basketball excellence. But I've long said Duke is great because its people are great. And so, for the next 5 minutes, 4 minutes and 27 seconds, I would like to talk about the people. First, to the faculty and staff, we thank you. You know, there's a well-worn adage that says, those who can do, those who can't teach. Now, being faculty in the School of Medicine, I have to say I'm a little bit biased, but I say here at Duke, that saying is, as they would mention in The Princess Bride, inconceivable. You see, every day, faculty guide the hands of learners through life-saving medical procedures. Faculty sit in front of Congress and push health policy that will improve the lives of millions of America. And faculty sit at the helm of internationally known multi-billion-dollar organizations whose products and services will touch the lives of people world around. And yet every day, faculty show up with one singular mission. They have dedicated their career to sharing their experiences, to spreading their wisdom. Because at Duke, faculty don't teach, they profess. And what's more, they do. And to my daughter sitting up there, I'm very aware Daddy just said doo-doo. I'll put a coin in the jar when we get home. But it's worth it, because our faculty are worth it. God, that went so much better than I thought it would. Because our faculty are great. And of course, none of us get here alone. Behind every late night coding session, every tough decision, and every early Saturday morning class and graduation, we had help. So to the parents, the spouses, partners, siblings, children's, mentors, and friends, old and new, we thank you. You are the quiet strength behind the busy days. You are the ones who kept believing even when the path wasn't clear. You are the steadying rudder in the wild ship I call my life. And because of that, we will forever be indebted. And while I'm in no position to ask one more favor, I will. And so this is the audience participation portion, so everybody kind of get ready. In a moment, I'm going to turn to address your graduates. And when I do, I want you, every one of you here, to address your inner Cameron Crazy and give them a deafening cheer as if Cooper Flagg, all right, it's graduation, Grant Hill just hit the game-winning buzzer beater. Are you ready? And to your graduates, thank you, guys. Yep. That's pretty awesome, isn't it? To be sitting on the floor of Cameron Indoor Stadium and have thousands of people cheering for you and your accomplishments. That's what it feels like to be great. But greatness doesn't just happen when the lights are the brightest. It happens in the tough times, when you find the perseverance to move forward. It happens when you take a step into a future that is not yet known. 19 months ago, as we embarked upon this journey, few could have known that we stood on the precipice of what was to be an AI-driven data revolution. While much of the world was spending time making action figure pictures of themselves, you were learning to harness the real power of AI, mastering the art of wrangling big data. Whether you realized it or not, you've positioned yourself to lead, to launch revolutionary startups, to push industry giants forward, to carve out new paths few could have imagined. Today, you don't just leave with a degree, you leave with a home, a foundation, or, as Ed Sheeran may have said when he was here in the fall, a castle on the hill. You are prepared to be great. But before you go, I want you to remember one last group of people, the people you wrote about in your graduate school applications. the ones you said that you wanted to help, the ones you said you would become. At the beginning of this journey, each of us carried a dream to change lives, whether here at home or across the world. And so, as you move forward to be great, remember them. Cheer for them. Lift them up. Because, as someone told me lately, everyone deserves a chance to fly. So go forward, class of 2025. And in the words of the great 20th century philosophers and time travelers, Bill and Ted, be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes.
Everybody, one more time for all of our student speakers. All right, we are almost getting to the point that we're all waiting for, but before we do, we want to acknowledge the students who have academically distinguished themselves within their program. So I ask now that those of you who have been designated a Fuqua Scholar to please rise at this time to be recognized. Stay up for a minute. So, for those of you that don't know what you're cheering for, Fuqua Scholars are those students who graduated in the top 10% of their class, and you can find their names in your programs. So this is an achievement that reflects your dedication, your tenacity, your commitment, and I ask that you all join me once again in congratulating our Fuqua Scholars on their outstanding achievement. All right, now you can sit down. So, with that, it is the time we've been waiting for. So it's a time to individually recognize our graduates by asking each of them to come forward to be recognized, and congratulated by everyone gathered here today. I'm going to ask Angus Bowers to come forward to first read the names of the Weekend Executive MBA 2025 graduates. We're going to ask the graduates to file up on the stage on your right, and as your name is called, please accept a diploma cover in our congratulations. Now, as this is a very, very special moment for everybody here, we strongly encourage you, your friends, your family, your coworkers, to loudly cheer for our graduates and to show your unbridled joy and support as their name is called. That said, we also encourage you to please take pictures from a bit of a distance, as we're going to have a lot of students coming through in fairly short order, and we don't want anyone to get run over. With that, welcome to the class of 2025. Please come forward.
Heike de Silva. Janie Joanne Alexander. Ross Baker. Michael Bandela. Rishipal Bunsode. Rahul Bantia. Matthew Edward Bartoluk. William Francis Burke. Savannah Jane Bauer. Caleb Alexander Bowers. Jake Bruder. Kara Bugal. Carmen Bula. Mallory Catherine Cage. Jalen Chakut Alton. Robert Camp. Landon Rhodes Carter. Rohit Chaube. Ian Linton Chustek. Eric D. Cote. Lauren Crow Jackson. Mary D'Amico. Mariah Dean. Arpan Desai. Jeffrey Desveen. Tejbir Singh Dinsa. Mary Kathleen Dorman. Matt Dorman. Gustav Dahl. Mark Dumas. Mike Elman. Seb Ewald. Ore Farsehun. Kevin Finnegan. Brian Fitzpatrick. Cheryl Diane Fix. Jonathan David Flemings. Alex Gaines. Matthew Garafola. Amanda Garza. Alexander George. Justin Ghosh. Max Ryan Gold. Rahul Golhar. Tony Gomer. Christine Gomes. Javi Gonzalez. Dr. Sarah Gonzalez. Petra Gorombe. Sean Anthony Gray. Eric Andrew Hansen. Andrew E. Hars, Jr. Olivia Hayes. Kristen Held. Keith Campbell Hemmert. Craig Hertz. Ryan Hess. David Whitehead Hobbs, Jr. Brian Michael Holden. Clark Hollander. James Harrison Horner II. Sean Horridge. Susan Hu. David Inaparthi. Matthew Jackson. Ramu Jagarapu. Jonathan John Pierre. Nelson Anderson Jetmanson. Spencer Joseph Johnson. Justin Jones. Michael Brandon Jones. Megan Susan Jordan. McKenna Elizabeth Kardish. Jane Elizabeth Karpinski. Sudharshana Kartigeyan. Katie Kendall. Nick King. Daniel Kozina. Lakshmi Kumari Gupta. Lee Lan. Travis Harrison Lane. Andrew Lemming. James Alexander Lothspike. Tyler Ludwig. Ashutosh Mahapatra. Archie Maitreya. Michael Hamilton March. Marley Joy Margolin. Cami Marin. Carson Philip Massey. Colleen Patrice McCaffrey. Patrick Meehan. Jessica Meidinger. Hannah Menahem. Matt Menezes. Isaac Miller. Tim Miller. Turner Miller. Jessica Gonzalez Millmeister. Nikhil Mittal. Krista Morris. Tina Moy. Umber Nagar. Satish Nagarajan. Brian Neal. Kumar Nialarshi. Olusegun Ogunnaiki. Sarah Jane O'Keefe. Charles Onelum. Tyler Owensby. Kojo Boche Owosu AJ. Brandon Joseph Ozka. Viveka Nandi Pai. Rich Palmateri. Jasmine Palmer. Richard Palmer. Murali Krishnan Panir Selvam. Nagaraja Vravi. Archana Pasupuleti. Sajgini Samar Patel. Shiva Patabiraman. Yanling Piacenti. Daniel Flournoy Pope. Gerald Porter. Michael Prather. Ganesh Ramalingam. Srikanta Rao. Elizabeth Juanita L. Rue. Haley Grace Ritchell. Kent Robbins. Nash Roberts. Brian Donald Roof. John Rucker. Patrick Sabatelli. Malobika Shaha. Suyash Erwin Sahasra Bojani. Haitham Omar Saleh. Brian Santos. Deborah Louise Sasso. Brian Joseph Scardella. Jessica Wu Scott. Louis Scott. Ruchi Lokesh Shori. Katie Shugru. Pawanjit Singh. Shreya Singh. Jeff Slusser. Jacob Tyler Smith. Michael Lawrence Smith. Jun Song. Graham Sullivan. Krish Sundar. Jag Sunkavali. David William Terpstra. Joshua Timby. Cynthia Tong. Uday Tudi. Maria Pamela Trickolas. Abhishek Upadhyay. Adarsh Tampi. Gina Viafan. Elizabeth Milagro Vialta. Dr. Lana Wahid. Derek Wall. John Watts. John Cameron Williams. Patricia Kelleher Williams. Stephanie Williams. Zi Yang. Haley Uram. James Oliva. James is a captain in the U.S. Army and is currently deployed overseas. He is represented today by his wife and son.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for the Weekend Executive MBA Class of 2025. Up next, we are going to read the names of the Global Executive MBA Class of 2025 graduates as they come forward. Once again, please file up to the stage on your right, and as your name is called, please accept your diploma cover and our congratulations, and please to continue to cheer vibrantly and loudly.
Megan Elizabeth Blotnick. Roshan Baum. Aaron Chang. Mackenzie Chernyshin. Colby Daly. Matt Engel. Nicholas Andrew Engstrom. Hedia Yazdani Evans. Robert Andrew Fields. Anton Gebhard Königstein. Liyun Chris Guen. Kofi Essel Hagen. Claudia Aro Gonzalez. Michael C. Seung. Paul Jeffries. Lalash Adelaide Katunga. Balal Omar Khan. Stacy Smith Klein. Brandon Neal Knox. Vanny Luong. John Louis Morotti. Gavin McAllister. Greg McNeil. Bruno Moraes. Srida Mua. Jacob Jerome Mulbire. John Eng. Ni Okai Nunu. Mark Daniel Nyberg. Frederick Operyemi Ogun Sherrier. Pamela Ortiz Chavez. Jared Regal. Connor Rickman. Nathan Robb. Lubin Rusinov. Silvana Sato. Rob Saylor. Dan Schofield. Shruti Shirke. Kevin Silva. George Sullivan. Ozioma Owazurik. Rebecca Christine Williams. Eldon Wood. Di Zhao.
Once again, please congratulate all of our Global Executive MBA Class of 2025 graduates. Up next, it is my privilege to recognize the MSQM HA Class of 2025 graduates. Again, as your name is called, please accept your diploma cover and our congratulations.
Brent Jason Teeling. Ashley Allie Dixon. Kunal Shukla. Lauren Elizabeth Sini. Simranjeet Singh. Ifra Sohail. Chi Tan. Zhang Peng Shi.
Everybody, please make a lot of noise for the MSQM HA Class of 2025. Up next, we get to recognize the MSQM BA Class of 2025 graduates.
Will Ong. Catherine Joy Barthelmus. Chelsea Bartlett. Lee Bell. Jerry Branham. Rong E. Chen. Omar Zain Duyat. Joseph Fitzgerald. Max Green. Caroline Nyabuke Joseph. Christina Kay. Jin Yup Kim. Preston Kunkel. Erica Lee. Keith Lutz. Brett McAllister. Unissa Mer. Salik Abrar Mohamed. Huyen Khan Nguyen. Andy Pay. Robert Sylvester Slayton, Sr. Amber Spear. Anjana Surin. Benjamin Tidwell.
Everyone, please give it up for the MSQM BA class of 2025. And now it is my honor to recognize the MSQM ABA class of 2024 graduates.
Michael Robert Collins. Daniel DeHaven. Paul William Guybe. Mark Horton. Elizabeth Morgan Johnson. Karan Sidhu. Erin Rebecca Smithy.
Everybody, congratulations to the MSQM ABA class of 2024. And before I turn it over to Dean Luce to finish things out, one more time, with all the pride you are feeling and with everything you have, please congratulate all of our graduates here today.
This concludes the presentation of graduates. I know he said one more time, but one more time again, please join me in congratulating the Weekend Executive MBA Class of 2025, the Global Executive MBA Class of 2025, the Master of Science in Quantitative Management Health Analytics Class of 2025, the Master of Science in Quantitative Management Business Analytics Class of 2025, and the Master of Science in Quantitative Management Accelerated Business Analytics class of 2024. Please, graduates, please stand so we can recognize you. Don't go anywhere, though. Stand up. Graduates, please remain standing, and So, excellent. I ask the graduates to please remain standing while I make brief, I promise, closing remarks. So, graduates, standing before me, and your faculty and staff, and your family and friends and supporters, today marks your transition from Fuqua student to Fuqua alumnus. A change that comes with incredible opportunities. You now have a strong foundation that will serve you throughout your career, built upon rigorous education and collaborative leadership. As a Fuqua alumnus, you are joining a prestigious network of over 29,000 people, some of the brightest minds in business working around the globe. So, your team just grew significantly, and all of our teams just grew significantly. I am also an alumna of this great institution, and exactly 31 years ago, earned a degree from Fuqua myself, a PhD in business administration, in what I hope is a fitting demonstration of scholarly symmetry. I now have the privilege to lead the very institution that invested in me decades ago the way we've all invested in you. I hope this is a longitudinal study of Fuqua's impact. If I could provide one piece of advice to you today, it's this: pursue excellence through meaningful connection. That includes the connections that you build here at Fuqua. Beyond campus, these relationships you forge will provide unique perspective down the road. Please support each other along the way. What will distinguish you in your career isn't only what you've learned at Fuqua, but how you've changed, how you've learned to think analytically, collaboratively, and ethically. We hope you stay connected to Fuqua. Our institution is made better by your contributions to the world, and we predict you will make remarkable impact outside these walls, and we hope you come back regularly to share them with us, to share your stories with us. You have completed your formal education, but your pursuit of knowledge should never end. In the words of Plutarch, the mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be kindled. Let your Fuqua education serve as kindling for continued personal growth. Be bold in your thinking, rigorous in your approach, and thoughtful in your leadership. I now ask friends and family to remain in your seats until our graduates have processed out of the stadium. Immediately after the processional, first it'll be those of us on the stage, then the graduates. Immediately after, you are all invited to join us for a reception being held at Fuqua honoring these graduates. Thank you for joining us this morning. Congratulations, class of 2025. You did it.
Thank you.